All right. Some of you mentioned that you prefer videos. I'm going to try putting this on YouTube. I got my ACDC shirt here. I'm so proud. Um, well, I enjoyed talking with everybody last week, and I'm definitely going to do that in my future classes. I do have three of you I need to speak to yet, so I'll keep that in mind. I'm going to send you an attachment that shows two of the earliest teaching methods. One of them is, first one's grammar translation. The second one's audiolingual. And I have some links in these, and I just went through them, and they're all good, but they're all bad in the sense that, especially on grammar translation, I have one, the Latin class is a little clip from the movie Dead Poet Society. It shows a guy teaching Latin, which is literally how grammar translation kind of got started. They used to teach Latin to people so they'd be educated. Our forefathers, like Jefferson, Washington, people in England, when they first had a rising upper class and royalty, and they wanted people to read and write, they thought the best way to read and write was to first know Latin and be able to quote the famous Roman and Greek writers. Now, they also studied Greek, but they didn't speak Greek. That was mainly religious scholars. So a lot of them quoted Cicero and things that they read Julius Caesar's History of the Gallic Wars. It was when he conquered France, basically. So I got the little clip about the guy doing agricola, agricolis, whatever, which means agriculture or farming. And then I've got one teaching the perfect tense, which is, perfect tense is the ED, like I have gone or she has written. It's the EN or ED equivalent. And you know this because you've had it if you had Spanish class. And you probably were taught this way. Hopefully not, but probably. And then the other one is, I got one, a Spanish class where they're learning. And finally, I've got one. You don't have to watch them if they're like 9 minutes. Just watch 2 or 3 minutes. That's fine. Some of these are very short. So, and then I've got one about learning English in a class in Urdu, which is the language of Pakistan. And some of these they try to be exciting. They have interesting music, or they have colorful video, or it's a PowerPoint kind of combination. But I want you to get the feeling, because you already know probably how you were taught grammar translation. And that's the old, here's something in English, translate it into Spanish, or translate it into French. Or you're given it in German or French and you translate it into English. It's all emphasizing grammar and writing and vocabulary, and there's very little speaking. It's because the original grammar translation, for the most part, was with Latin, which was a dead language. It was only used for religion, like in the Mass. It was used for scholars who were studying the Greek or Roman. And most of the stuff was written in Latin. You know, I'm sure Archimedes did his work and Pythagoras did in Greek. It was translated into actually into Arabic is how it was saved, and then it came back to the people in Europe when the documents or the papers which were preserved in Arabic. The Muslims preserved a lot of the Greek and Roman learning, and it was only brought back because of the Muslims. People forget that when they're yelling about how terrible certain cultures are. They forget what they owe them. So I've got these examples, and I just want you to get an idea. You'll understand, and you'll see. And I ask on this paper here. I say on here, what is the benefit of grammar translation? These are not all bad. You use parts of them to teach. Definitely when you teach English to Americans, you teach grammar, and that's a big deal. So it has some value, especially in writing. But the question is, and I would say to some of you are English teachers or have taught a language, does grammar instruction, the rules themselves, make you better at the language? And I find that for the most part, it's people that love grammar like grammar rules. But in fact, grammar rules don't really teach us a lot because it's not language. Language never started out with grammar. Grammar was hidden. We knew what the rules were, but we didn't sit around thinking about them, you know. So that's that part. The second part's the audiolingual method. Audiolingual was invented after World War II because the U.S. and the CIA and a lot of people that either mainly wanted to do spy work or teach people quickly how to speak a certain African language, they prepared these training manuals, and I emphasize training again, only it was really literally training. You fill in the slot. Like in Spanish, if you ever had a Spanish class and somebody says, okay, the teacher says, él está fumando. Tú, that means you, personal, if you know what that means. The personal you. It's kind of like in English, it's thee or thou or something, I guess, the equivalent in the old days. And you'd say, he smokes. He's smoking. Él está fumando. And they'd say, tú. And then you're supposed to say tú or you, estás, with the ending, estás fumando. And then she or he, él está fumando. Or yo estoy fumando, etc., etc. They don't usually use the progressive tense like that in Spanish. It's not quite that clean. It's a little different than it is for us. But that's how we usually translate it to get it across the idea. And so you end up saying these things like, tú estás, él está, and then that's the is, and then we put in fumando or whatever ing kind of equivalent ending we wanted. It could be él está leyendo, he is reading, okay? It could be anything. Él está manejando, I think that is. That would be driving, okay? El coche, the car. So you just have these little fill in the slots and you go through, and the idea is to make it automatic so you learn how to respond. You hear something or you want to say something and you automatically have memorized it, internalized it. You haven't really learned it, but you've heard it enough. It's like you can say it. You don't know what it is, but you can say it. Okay. And then, of course, they want you to know what it is so you know the appropriate term. I give you some examples. They're a little boring, but I got two. The one that says the quirky video that looks like the 1950s. I mean, it's kind of funny. You can see how people are all excited. I think it looks like it was staged, but I'm not sure. And I got these all over the internet. Some of these are from Paraguay. And the one, I think the one example I have in here, and I'm not trying to remember which one it was. There's one of these where if you listen, they're actually, I think one of these, in one of these videos, you're going to realize they're learning Italian and they're Spanish speakers. And so they produce Italian, but they're told, you know, do this, and then they produce Italian. I can't remember that's in the first one or the audiolingual, but it's interesting. If you listen, you can hear, oh, it's Italian, you know, you kind of pick up the little flair to Italian. And then this last one is a really odd video. And I realize now that guy's in blackface. For a long time, I thought it was a war zone and the guy had been injured. But for some reason, these people are wearing little costumes to be people from other places. I have no idea what that is. You know, be like if I had a little cowboy hat back here, if I put that on my head and pretended to be a cowboy. One of my favorite jokes. This is, you won't know this, Glenn Campbell joke. You know, you put this on. This is the flag of Germany, you know. Guy got that in Germany, gave it to me. And so I said, what am I? Instead of I'm a rhinestone cowboy, I'm a Rhineland cowboy. Okay, that's the joke. You wanted humor, you got humor. Okay. All right. So I put down on here, what are the advantages of each? Now I'm not doing this because I'm going to quiz you and give you tests over this, but I want you to just realize that these exist and that some people use this as a means to teach language. With ESL, our interest is in getting authentic language. The grammar translation is too slow, it's too theoretical. In the audio-lingual method, you do learn some language, but you still learn to do it automatically. You're not really, the concept of comprehensible input is not comes later, comes in the 80s actually, literally when I started school. People start talking about, it really has to mean something or else people don't really internalize it, you know. That's why if you learn Spanish while staying with a family, you learn it in a real sense. You spend a lot of time being confused, but you have to go through that long listening period. And that's key to be able to produce language. Both of these are attempts to skip the listening period. We don't need the listening period. We'll just learn the language. Yeah, you learn it, but you still can't go anywhere and do anything with it unless you think you're going to write an essay in order to get some wine and some crepes at a restaurant or something, you know. Okay, that's my video, and I'm going to make you watch it. So, and AC/DC, it rocks. I always like them. I should have put that on here. I noticed there was some on one of the videotapes in the background. You can hear AC/DC, and then you hear some other stuff. Okay, I'm going to try to save this, and